Welcome to another video in the data migration playlist. In the video today, I will run a full end-to-end demo of the data migration application on SAP S/4HANA 2021 using SAP Fiori. So I will show you how to create a migration project, and then I will use the GL account master data as an example. So I will show you how to download the master data templates, how to fill them, and then how to upload the data, and the different steps included in the data migration process. So this is the first demo on the data migration application in this playlist. This is why today I'm going to explain everything slowly. I will take my time to explain the overview of the application and the different general functions. Then in the future videos, when I do other demos to explain the different data migration objects, I will go faster. I'm coming back to you from the future after 2 hours of recording to tell you that in this demo, you will see a lot of errors that can happen in the upload process and how we can solve all of them. Since this is the first demo, I'm going to start from zero. So here I have my SAP GUI. And to go to SAP Fury, I'm going to type /n/UI2/FLP. This code can be used in any S/4HANA system, and it will open the SAP Fiori Launchpad if it is installed in your system. So I will hit enter. If you want to know other details about how to navigate SAP Fiori in general, so how to start it and how to set the home page and the color of the system and the different user settings, you can check the other playlist that I created for SAP Fiori overview. I will leave you a link here, and you should definitely check it if this is the first time for you to work on SAP Fiori. This is an essential skill now because, as you see, there are many things that will no longer be available in SAP GUI. For example, data migration used to be available in SAP GUI using transaction code LTMC, but this is no longer the case. Now I think starting 2019, so S/4HANA 2019, LTMC was not available in the menu, so we were still able to use it if we know the transaction code, but then I think from 2020 they already removed it completely. Now if I try here in my system to type LTMC, it will take me nowhere. So LTMC is no longer available in SAP GUI. We are now forced to use the SAP Fiori application. So we all need to learn how to use SAP Fiori well. So now I have started my SAP Fiori here, as you see, and I started with my home page. The application I will use is Migrate your Data Migration Cockpit. These are the different data migration projects available in my system. This is a test system used by so many people, but then here if I want to create a new project, I will go to create, and then I have one of two choices. So migrate data directly from SAP system or migrate data using staging tables. From SAP system, this means that we have another SAP system from which we are migrating. So the source system is SAP and the destination is this instance of SAP, and we have a connection between the two systems. This is not what I'm explaining, and I don't have access to another system anyway. So the other option that we use if we are going to insert the data using Excel sheets, we use migrate data using staging tables. And this is the first screen. So here we have create new project, general data. Here you specify the general information. So migration approach, we already selected the name, let's say, and then here we have mass transfer ID. So I will leave it as is. You can click on display next available. And then database connection, either local or remote. Local means that the staging tables will be created in this instance of S/4HANA. It will not be created in another system. If I want to say in another database, if I want to have it in another database, I will click on remote. If you choose remote SAP HANA database, it will ask for a connection string. So again, you have a connection to another HANA database. But if I choose local SAP S/4HANA, then we don't have to insert a link because it will use the current instance. So I click on step 2. And here we have the development package. So when we are migrating the data, SAP is going to create staging tables. So as we said, we are doing the data migration using staging tables. These tables will be filled by our Excel sheets. Now these tables will be created by the system. In order to create tables, SAP needs a development package. So either we are going to use a local package or we use other package. If we use the local package, this means that this configuration cannot, or this project, this migration project, cannot be transported to another system. So we are working directly on production, for example, and we are going to upload directly there. But the standard SAP approach, of course, is that we use a demo system or a testing system first, and we do the migration project there. And then once we test that everything is okay and the project is well created, we then transfer or transport this project to our production environment. But in my case, I only have one environment and I'm testing and doing everything in it. So I will use the local package. If I choose other package, then I have to select which package from here. Local package, this is not transportable. We cannot move it to another system. And then click on step 3. Here we have migration objects. So here we have all the migration objects that are defined by standard in SAP. I am looking now for the GL account master data, so I can type account here in search and then click here. So we have FI accounts, payable open items, receivable open item, FI GL accounts. So this is the one I am looking for. And we can choose different objects. So for example, I'm choosing this one and then I will send it to the other side. And then let's say I also want to do data migration for suppliers. So here we have suppliers, so I will choose it also. So now we have suppliers here, and as you see, we cannot see the GL accounts. This is because the filtering here works on both sides of the page. This can be very confusing. It's very simple, but it can be very confusing. What I mean is, if I remove this search criteria, you will see that we still have the GL accounts. So when we search for something, it filters both sides of the screen or both columns. So now we have the GL account supplier. Let's add also customer. So these are the objects I would like to migrate in this project. We can choose as many as we want. And I can also, for example, choose the GL account open items. So let's say I want to also transport AP open items and AR open items and GL account balances and open items and move all of them there. So now these are all the objects that I selected for my project, and then we can proceed. So click on review. Predecessor objects exist for this selection. 6 of 6 predecessor objects will be added to the list of the migration objects. So for some of these, let's click on add first. So for some of the objects that we have selected, SAP already identified that there are other objects that must be migrated before them. So for example, if we want to migrate GL accounts open items and GL account balances, it means that the GL accounts must already be migrated before this, the master data. So if we choose to migrate the GL account open items, SAP will automatically also tell us that we should add the GL account master data. And the same for any object that we choose. Here, this is the summary of what we have. So we have the migration approach, the name, the transfer ID. So these are the settings that we selected, the development package, migration objects. And as you see, SAP automatically added banks depreciated, cost center. These are the predecessor objects for the objects that I selected. And here for every object, we can see the predecessor objects. So supplier, for example, it has 2 predecessors. And if we click here, so in order to upload suppliers, we must upload the bank and bank depreciated, because inside the supplier master data, we include the bank data for the supplier. So the banks must be uploaded before, or should be, because SAP gives us the choice to do this. And then we have the FI accounts payable open items. This has 4 predecessors. So profit centers, exchange rates, GL accounts, and suppliers. So these are the predecessors, and here we have documentation. The nice thing about the data migration application is that it is recent, it is new, which means that it is very well documented. So this is not an ancient solution that you will struggle in order to learn. Actually, there are a lot of videos, articles, documents that are available for free from SAP to the public, so anyone can learn how to use the data migration application. If you click here on any of these documentation links, it will take you to the documentation. So let's try for FIGL accounts. Click on documentation, and this opened the SAP help portal. And as you see here, it explains many things. So this is functional accounting, master data. What is the GL account master data? The approach, and these are the different field values that you can insert in the sheets, and a lot of information about the GL account master data. So this is just an example. You can check the documentation for any object you want. Now, if we want to change anything, we can click on edit, and it will take us back to the steps in order to choose other objects or remove some of them and so on. Now I'm done, so I will click on create project. Here we have our migration project, and also as you see here we have the number of migration objects, and if I click here on the number 12, it will show us the different objects inside this project. Now in order to get into the project, you can click on this arrow here, or just click on the name of the project. So here we have ready for processing, so the project now is ready. Sometimes, as you see here, for example, not ready for processing. The system takes some time to prepare the project in order to proceed. Until the project is ready for processing, you will not be able to do anything. So as you see, we have no action here, but the ones that are ready, you can see migration started and we can do different actions. In order to monitor the different activities inside the project, you can click on monitoring here, and this will explain what the system is doing. So now, as you see, we have prepare project started, and this is the time. And then we have some preparation activities that are complete. So we have copy migration object to project for bank and bank depreciated are done. Now we can see also that we have another activity happening, copy migration object to project for customers, and this one is still in process. So copy started and runtime 1 minute. So now you see the system is preparing the objects in the project, and it can take some time. And you can always check all the activities inside this monitoring screen. This is very useful because this is the same that we will use in the different steps of the project. So when we do the upload of the data, when we download the templates, or when we do the simulation or migration or anything, any activity that we do, you can go inside monitoring and you will find it. Now the FIGL accounts is ready for processing and we can proceed with our demo. So I can select here, and here we can see the different activities that we have for this object. So we can download the template, upload file, and then mapping tasks. Let's start by getting into the details of this object. So here we have ready for processing, a standard scope. This is the layout of the screen. So these are the different tables that will be filled with the data. So we have general data, controlling area data, company code data, account names, and account keywords. And these tables will be available in the upload template, all of them. So we will have a sheet for controlling area data, a sheet for company code, a sheet for general data, and so on. And I will show you this now. And then here we have history. So the history is prepare object completed. So first we have copy completed and then prepare object completed. So in this history log, we will be able to see everything that happens on this object in this project. And then here we have the migration object dependencies. So states in process. We have a successor, the FI, GL account balances, and open line items. So after we upload the GL account master data, we have a successor. So the next step is that we can upload the GL account balances and open line items. Now let's go back and proceed with the first step. So now I have selected the FI GL account, and then if you go to the right here, we have mapping tasks. Before we proceed, as you see now in data, we have tables 5. These are the 5 tables I just showed you inside. So the general, controlling area, company code, and so on. If you click here, it will take you to the screen where we can see the same tables. So general data, controlling area data, company code data, account names, account keywords, and the technical ID is the ID of the table in the system. So this is the actual table. So these are automatically created by SAP inside our HANA database. And then we have the table status is okay. If we want to go to the details of any of these tables, so we can click again. And here we can see the actual technical details. So what are the fields inside? Is it a key field? Is it mandatory? The data type and the different details inside the table. And then also here we have explanation of every field. So if you click here on more, it will explain the general ledger account type, determines how general ledger account can be used. And these are the different values available inside this for this field. So these are the values that you can fill in the Excel upload template. This is very useful. So now before we start filling the upload template, we should always check this to understand what is the value that will be accepted in any of the fields, and also to understand what are the fields about. If there is any field we don't understand, we can see the details here. Now let's go back to our tables. So now we understand the different tables included in our GL account master data and the different fields inside them, what is the meaning of every field, and what are the input data that will be accepted inside. Now let's get back and continue with our process. So I will select the FIGL accounts, and then here we have the mapping tasks. So now, so far, mapping tasks, we only have one, simulation 0, migration 0. I will proceed with the first step, download template, before we do the mapping. So this will download the Excel template that I can fill with my data. So here I will click on Show in Finder, and here is our Excel sheet. So first, we have the introduction sheet that explains everything about the template and how to use it, and the very important notes to avoid any errors. So for example, you should not use formulas, you should not copy and paste any formatting or any formulas, you should only copy and paste values, and many other notes that you should definitely read before filling the template to avoid errors that can happen when you do the upload. And then the next sheet, we have the field list. So this shows the different tables, and for every table, what are the fields available. So first we have general data, it includes these fields. And then we have controlling area data with these fields. And whether it's mandatory or not, the type of data, and the length accepted. So these are the different fields included. And then this is exactly the same what you have here in the different sheets. So we have one sheet for general data, one for controlling area data, one for company code data, account names, and account keywords. The ones that are in orange are mandatory. The ones that are in blue are optional. And the reason we have them in optional here, for example, so company code data is something that's, I find, mandatory, but it's only mandatory if you want to extend the GL account to a company code. But we can also create the GL account only on the chart of account level, and then we only need to fill the general data and the account names. So whether you should fill the sheets or not depends on your business requirements. Here I'm creating the GL accounts on the level of my company code AG00. So for me, the company code data and the controlling area data are mandatory. Controlling area data is mandatory for P&L accounts, profit and loss. Company code data is mandatory for all the accounts. But if I want to create the GL accounts only on the level of the chart of account, I can fill the general data and the account names sheets. This is why they are in orange. So this is the minimum requirement. So then I will start with the general data sheet. Here we have the different values. I have already prepared an Excel sheet that I can use in the demo today. So let me bring it here. So here is my sheet. It's exactly the same one. So we have introduction, field, general data. So this is the general data that I filled. First of all, when you open the sheet, these two rows are normally hidden. You can unhide them if you want. Everything is explained in the introduction sheet. It tells you what are the hidden columns and what are the hidden rows and what's included in them and so on. So here I have the chart of account. So this is my chart of account, AG00. It has the same code as the company code. Any field that has the asterisk means it's mandatory and must be filled. So this small asterisk there. This one. So this is a mandatory field that must be filled. Now let's proceed. So the second sheet is controlling area data, and here I'm filling the details of my P&L accounts, profit and loss. So here is the controlling area G000 and the cost element category. And then the company code data, here I'm filling the data for all of the GL accounts because I want to extend them to my company code. So here I have the chart of account, the company code is here, faces group, and so on. And then the account names, this is the description of the different accounts. And also we can fill the keywords if we want, but this is not mandatory at all. If you check here, we have fields that are marked with an asterisk, which means that if I decide to fill this sheet, then I must fill these fields. But if I don't want to fill the sheet at all, then I can ignore all the fields in it. That's why here I don't have anything and SAP will not give any errors. So now this is the template, and I have already filled it with my GL accounts. So here we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 accounts. Now let's get back to our project. So here I have already downloaded the template for FIGL accounts. The second step is upload file. So it took me to this screen where I can upload my files and then click on upload. So any files that are already uploaded, you will be able to see here. I will click on upload. And then this is our file, source data for FIGL account. No, this is not the one. So this is our file, source data for FIGL accounts here. And once we upload the file, SAP starts validating. So here we have status validation scheduled. If we want to see or monitor this activity, we can always go back to the project and click on monitoring. And here we can see the status. So we have validate file, scheduled FIGL account, and it has been running now for 4 minutes. Now the validation is done and we have the status failed. So something is wrong with the file. So we can go click on show messages. And here we can see in sheet company code record 14301 doesn't exist in high level of hierarchy. In the hierarchy, and also, so this is the only one that has an issue. So this account doesn't exist in some of the sheets. This error means that the account is filled in some of the sheets and is missing from other mandatory sheets that should also be filled. So let's go back to our Excel file and check this account. So as you see, for example, here we have the account. We don't have the account mentioned, so this is the error. Now let's go to company code data. So as you see here, we have this account 14,001. That's filled in company code data, but in general data we don't have it. So something is wrong, because it must be also in general data. So let's see which account this is. So this is the reconciliation account. Here we have 1402. So I would actually like to keep this one, the one ending with 2. So I will go to company code data and I will change this with the one ending with 2. And also I need to be sure that it is filled in account names. So even in account names it's filled with the wrong value. So let's make it 2. Now we have this account in all the sheets. So I will save. This account is not in the controlling area data because it's a balance sheet account. So I will save here and let's go back to SAP, to SAP Fiori. Go back, again go to FIGL accounts, upload file. So first I'm going to delete this file because it's wrong, it has some issues, so delete. And then I will upload the file again. So now again SAP will do the validation. So let's go back to monitoring. Now after 6 minutes the file has been validated, and also SAP did another step called import file that was done in 0 minutes. Very quick step, and we don't have any errors completed. If we want to see the details we can click on show messages. So file name is done, and here we don't have any other messages. Now let's get back to our project and check now for FIGL accounts. So now we have some updates here. So data, we have 5 tables and instances 6. So 6 is the number of GL accounts we are uploading. And then here we have in the mapping tasks, we have 0 and 1 open, and we don't have anything else. In migration, we have not started 6. Now the next step is to do preparation. So I will click on prepare here. Before we do, if we want to see the instances included that are already included now in the staging tables, so this has been already added to the staging tables, we can click on instances on 6, and SAP will show the different records. So these are the different GL accounts that we have in our sheet, and we have the GL account type, and we can click on display all to see the other values. We can also see more details by going here, and here we have the different tables for this record, and we can check the different details filled for this GL account in the different tables. So now we can see all the details that we included in our Excel sheet. Let's go back and go to the next step, prepare. So click here and click on prepare staging tables. And again, SAP has started an activity. Let's go to monitoring. And we have prepare staging tables started. Now the activity is completed, prepare staging tables. It took only 1 minute, and we can also see the messages if you want. We don't have any errors. Let's go back. And now let's see what we have here. So in the mapping tasks, we have errors. 1, we have open 12. So now this is new, this wasn't here. So we have some mapping activities to do. And we still have the tables and instances. So next we will do the mapping tasks. So here we have the different steps, the different mapping activities that must be done. And what is this? So now we have added some values in our Excel sheet, and we are asking SAP to upload them to the system. So SAP will validate the values that we inserted, and then it will recommend some mappings that should happen. So for example, the GL account that I inserted only has 6 digits, like 140,000. But the GL account in SAP in the database is created with more digits than 6. So SAP will fill the rest with zeros. Let me show you this. So if I click here on mapping of GL accounts, and then we have 9 instances, so click here. So as you see, for example, the GL account 410,001, so these are 6 digits, and this is the value I have in my Excel sheet. SAP will convert it to S4HANA target value and will add 4 zeros to match the field settings in SAP S4HANA. So here this will be 4 zeros and then 410,001. And the same for all the GL accounts and even the group GL accounts. So now I can go through them one by one and click on confirm. Or I can click here to select all the lines and click on confirm here. We can also change the target value if you want, if you find anything that's wrong. Now let's go back and check the other activities. So here we have selected this one already, so we can go to the rest. We can also ask SAP to confirm everything if we are sure that there is nothing to be checked. We can select all and click on confirm, and SAP will confirm all the values in this list. We can also click on download values, and SAP will download different Excel sheets. So for every one or for every line here, we will have a different Excel file where we can check the value mappings that SAP did before we confirm. So now if we do this, SAP is going to schedule another job to do the confirmation. So I went ahead and confirmed all the values except the one that has an error, so I can show you what is this. So if I click on this line with an error, here the source value for the sorting according to assignment number, so mapping of key for sorting. So this one I inserted 0001, and SAP was not able to recommend a value for this mapping. Actually, the value should be 201, not 3 zeros. I added 1 0 by mistake. So now I have added the correct value. We can also see the available values here. So here we have 001 posting date. So I will select this. We have the status revised and confirm. So now we don't have any errors. Everything is okay. Let's close this. And the mapping is done. Everything is confirmed. Let's go back. So now if we check here for FIGL accounts, we have errors 0, open 0, and done 13. And then we have the simulation. So the next step after we do the mapping is to simulate the data upload. So click on simulate. Now SAP will check the different lines and will try to create them on SAP and see if this will show any errors without actually creating any records. It's only a simulation. So we can either choose all instance and click on simulate, and then SAP will create an activity or schedule an activity to simulate all the lines. Or we can say, I want to do only 10%. So this will be some kind of sampling. SAP will only do 10% of the lines, or random 500, or we can choose custom selection and then click on start simulation. So here we are going to select the lines that we want to simulate. Step 2, so here we can insert any selection criteria we want, and then click on step 3. And this is what SAP is going to simulate. Here they all have the status initial. They have not been simulated before. And then SAP will simulate them. If I click on review, SAP will simulate everything. Now I don't want to simulate this way. I can also go back. I want to select line by line what are the lines I want to simulate. For example, to do this, we can go here and then go to instances. So inside the object. And from here, we can click on the lines we want and click on simulate. And the same can happen with migration. So now I want to simulate. So I will select this line, and this line, for example, and I don't want to simulate the rest. So these are the different ways we can simulate the data upload. Now I'm going to choose all of them and click on simulate. Simulation started. Now let's go back again to our monitoring screen. So here we have scheduled simulation, scheduled, and this is scheduled runtime 1 minute. So let's see how long this will take. It only took 2 minutes, and now the simulation is done, and we have the status completed with errors. So click on show messages so we can see the errors. Here we have a lot of messages. If you check here at top, we have 4 errors. We have 28 warning messages, 35 success. Warning messages can be something that we did not fill because we don't want to fill. So for example, the keywords values that we did not fill because we don't want them, this will show as a warning. So there's nothing, we don't have to do anything about them, but if you want, you can check to see if there is anything important there. Errors we have to solve. So now if I check errors, message for source record 15,002, we have to make an entry in the field relevant to cash flow. So this field is marked as mandatory in SAP S/4HANA for this type of GL accounts, and we did not check the field, so SAP threw an error. This is just a simulation, so SAP didn't actually create anything. So now I have 2 options. Either I will go back to my upload file, to my Excel sheet, and I will correct it and then repeat everything. So do the upload again, and then do again the preparation, check the mapping, but the mapping is already done, so normally there would be nothing to be done there, and then simulate again. Or I can decide to proceed with the records that are correct and then this one will stay in the status error, and then I can correct it in the future. And this is what I will do now. So this way I can show you how to do the correction for any errors after we do the migration. So now I will proceed with my migration. So let's go back, and now again for FIGL accounts, here we have the status simulation completed with errors, but still I can decide to proceed. So this is what I will do. If you check here in simulation, we have errors 1 and we have successful 5. So we have one record with error, and if we click here, SAP will show us which record has the error. Now let's go back, and I will proceed with migration. So again, go here and migrate. So now I can decide to migrate all instances again, or only migrate selected instances, or I can go inside the object, click on instances and select the instances I want to migrate, as I showed you with the simulation. So I will just choose all instances here and click on start migration. You are going to migrate data which was not successfully simulated. Do you want to continue? Yes. So now you are going to migrate data. The migration cannot be undone. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. So now SAP will migrate all the instances inside this object, even the ones that has errors. SAP will try to migrate again, and then if they still have the error, it will throw out an error message for this record only. So the rest of the records will be created fine. So we have 6 GL accounts, 5 of them will be created without issues, and 1 of them will fail. Or maybe if there is an error in our production system or in our system, when SAP tries to create, for example, the user is logged, other GL accounts can also show errors. So let's see what will happen. Now I will go back to monitoring. And here we have migrate data is already done, impressive, and completed with errors. So the data has already been migrated. Now if I want to see the errors again, I can click on show messages. And here we have success and we have errors. So the errors is the GL account 15,002 was not created because it doesn't have the relevant to cash flow field. Now, before we proceed, let's confirm that the GL accounts have actually been created in our SAP. So let's go back to SAP GUI, and here I will go to SE16H. There are reports in SAP Fiori that can show us the GL accounts, but I like using SE16H. And here I will insert the table SCKB1 and will choose the outer join definition that I created with SCKA1. So this is the table for company code data, and SCKA1 is the table for the chart of account data. I already explained in detail with the demo how to create this outer join in SE16H, which is very useful to generate any report you want. So I will leave you a link to the video here or here. So check it to learn how to do this. So now this query that I'm running will give me all the details from SCKB1 and SCKA1. And the company code is AG00, and execute. So now these are the GL accounts that we have created. If I check my project, so if I GL accounts, instances, so here these are the GL accounts. So 14,002, 3, 1, 2, 4, 24,001. So let's see here. So here we have 14,002, 24,001. So the GL accounts have been created, and as you see here, created with my username. Everything is nice so far, and the GL account 15,002 is not here, the one that showed an error. So now I want to correct this GL account and upload it. How can I do this? Let's go back to our project. And here, as you see, now in migration, we have errors 1, successful 5. So 5 GL accounts were created successfully, and 1 has an error. And we can also see the migration progress is 83%. We have some red here, which means we have some errors. And then the next step we have here is create correction file. So this is an optional step to correct the lines that had errors. And this is really amazing. This is extremely user-friendly. If you click here on create correction file, then we can choose which source file had the issues. So now this is the file that I uploaded in the beginning of the demo. So I will select it and then click on create correction file. And then if we go back to monitoring, we see here generate correction file scheduled. Now what SAP will do is it will create an Excel sheet similar to the one that I uploaded that only includes the lines that had errors, which is very user-friendly, very easy. And then I can go to the lines, correct the errors that we found in the migration run, and then re-upload the file, and we have corrected the errors. So we don't have to go to our old file and filter on the ones that had errors and do some VLOOKUPs to see which errors were which records have been uploaded and which records have failed. Then we select the ones that have failed and then we correct them. No. Once you click on create correction file, SAP will automatically create the file and we can use it. Now after 8 minutes the file is created and here we have generate correction file completed. Then we can click on download file and SAP will download a zip file, so a compressed file. If we open it, here is the file. As you see, it's exactly the same template. It even has the introduction, field list, general data, everything. But if you go here to general data, it only shows the record that has the error. Very nice. So here's our record, and then if I go to company code data, we can see it created here. And then the error was that we need to insert a value in the field relevant for cash flow. So here I will insert an X and then save. Yes. Then go back to our project and then go here to upload file. So again, I will go to the same FIGL account object and then click on upload file. Here we have the file we already uploaded before. And as you see, we have another group of files called correction files, and SAP automatically added the file that it created for us for correction. So this way we can always check it in the future if you want. And then I will upload the file that I corrected. So click on upload. And there is our file. So this is the file SAP created. I have corrected the values inside it and then I uploaded it again. And now it is in validation. So let's go back to monitoring. And then click on go. So as you see here, we don't have the last activity. I can click on go to refresh. And here we have import file failed. Let's see what errors we have this time. So click on show messages. Into table, instance already exists in the table. So here we have an error that this account 15,002 is already in the staging table. Now we are trying to modify it to include the relevant to cash flow indicator, but the file is already in the staging table. So in order to pass this, we have to manually tell SAP that we want to override the values. To do this, let's go back, go again to upload file, and then select the file that has the errors, and then in actions, click on transfer data to staging table. This is very important. So once we click on transfer data to staging, SAP is saying one or more files may contain instances that cannot be inserted and so on. And then here we have choose one of the following options, either skip files with duplicates or replace duplicates with instances from the file. And this is what we will do. So SAP will replace the old record that has the error with the new record. And then click on transfer data. And now again transfer scheduled. Let's go back to our monitoring screen. And it has import file scheduled and we have to wait until this is done. Now the activity import file is completed and we can proceed with our migration project. So let's go back. Here we don't have any errors now. We have to simulate again, or we can just proceed with migration. Let's do this because the video is getting too long. So now we don't have any open mapping tasks because we didn't do anything that should be mapped. And then we already have the file prepared. Everything is fine. So the staging tables are already prepared. So I'll just proceed directly with migration. So click on migrate, and then I will keep it to all instances and start migration. The migration cannot be undone. Yes, I'm sure. And then now let's go to monitoring and see how long it will take SAP to finish this activity. Now the migration is complete and we don't have any errors. So if we go back to our SAP here and we refresh, we have 10 GL accounts. If I refresh, we have 11 and the account 15,002 is created. And this is the end of the demo. So now we have uploaded all the GL account master data we want. And now if we go back to our projects, we can see if GL account is green, 100% completed, and it looks very nice. Of course, we can proceed and upload other files and do again and upload other files and again and so on as much as we want. This video was definitely not easy to record at all, especially having to wait for every step with every activity that's scheduled to be done. So I had to record it over 10 times. And also this is the only demo that you'll find online showing the upload process end to end. I have checked YouTube, I have checked everywhere. There are no demos. Either there are demos without audio at all or demos with very bad quality of a very old version. So I'm very happy that I recorded this video. It will take a lot of time in after recording to process the video and to edit it on Adobe Premiere, but it is worth it. I'm very happy that I did it, and I hope you also appreciate this effort. And at least, please leave me a comment, interact with the video, tell me that you found it useful, or tell me that it's not useful, just tell me anything. And of course, share it with your connections, check the other videos in the playlist, check the other playlists in the channel, and subscribe to the channel, leave me your comments, your questions. Thank you for watching, thank you for your time, and I'll see you again in the next video.